Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Nile Cruise with Dina Mamdouh and myself, Muhammad Abdel, and with the presence of Ms. Hidayat Abdel Nabi, talking about the memory of the great legend Kulthum. And before the break, we were talking about Ms. Hidayat, about the role that Kulthum had in the freeing of Arab women and in making Arab women get their rights. And you talked about 1919, the Saad Zaghloul revolution and the Hoda Sha'rawi movement. So please proceed.
Yeah, I think that it is impressive to note that she had an orchestra. By the time she became the most famous lady in the Arab world, she had an orchestra, about 20 people, more than 20 people, and they were all men. So she stood, like a beacon amongst 24 men. That is amazing. She had no hesitation. She had no fear of the environment around her.
She was the strong captain of the team.
Yeah. Exactly. And it was very impressive. So these are messages. We need to learn them, that women are powerful, women could be empowered, women could be on top of the world, like she was on top of the world until today. In the field of music and songs, there is no competition with her at all. So I think this is very impressive, the point of how she influenced also the images of women, their minds, their souls, and that when they went to her performance, they were so well dressed up, like as if you are in a concert in Paris. So maybe this will affect the young ladies and the women, the middle-aged women, that power is not... And then we have to admit that she was one of the few people who knew the Quran inside out. And she knew the Quran, but she was not veiled. So this is fantastic.
Mrs. Hidayat, what is missing the Egyptian women to fight for?
What is missing? I think we need a little bit of... women have excelled in all fields in Egypt. I don't have anything to say about that they should do more or less, because even in school, girls do very well. In university, girls do very well. Physicians, engineers, scientists, in all walks of life, women do very well. What we need is the compassion of men, that we are equal, because we are, if you take the percentage in society, we are really almost equal, men and women. All right, so if we are equal, then we need equal representation everywhere, parliament, government, governors, name it. We still didn't reach that. Do you think the women alone can do it? No. I think it is the involvement of men and their conviction that women are equal would lead to that stage, inshallah.
Yes, Mrs. Hidayat, as we are near the premises of the Kulthum Museum, tell us about the names. You talked earlier about the team, the fact that she had a great team. So tell us about the name that must be mentioned as we mention the great memory of Kulthum.
Of course, Sheikh Zakaria Ahmed, who composed many of her songs, is one of the great names that should be remembered today. Without him, I think Kulthum would be lacking one of her milestones. Then you have Ahmad Rami. We know Ahmad Rami, all of us.
Poet.
The famous poet. He wrote for Kulthum 137 songs. 137 songs. Could you imagine that? And in addition to that, I think that Muhammad al-Asabgi is quite important to be mentioned. I would say that while she was entering the society, there was a man from the higher circles, Amin Bey al-Mahdi, who I think was like a chaperone for her to enter into the highest levels of society. And so these are names, and then you have after that Muhammad Abdul Wahab, our great musician, and Baligh Hamdi, and etc. There are so many names, but the three first names that I mentioned are very important because most of the most outstanding songs of Kulthum were either written by them or composed by them. I would like just to add one point is that could you imagine that Kulthum sold 80 million discs or records? 80 million.
At a time when the Egyptian population was like what?
20 million. No,
Maximum.
It's no, say after 1960 or something like that. But still, it was not 100 million.
Yeah.
So 80 million is a big figure. I mean, amazing.
Of course.
Yeah, because it went global. It was not just Egypt
Yeah, of
or
course,
the
it's
Arab
a
world. It
global
was
because
global.
when you listen to the reactions of artists abroad, they were influenced by Kulthum, by her music, by her songs, etc., etc. So she was not really confined to Egypt. She's not an Egyptian phenomenon only.
She's loved by most of the Arabs
she's a
around the
voice
world.
and
Yeah.
musical phenomenon.
And maybe, excuse me, Dina, but maybe there isn't one singer that had this domination in one language or in one singing language. So maybe if we take all languages across the world or all singing languages, maybe that domination in one singing language never occurred. What do you think, Mr. Hidayat?
Well, I think that the outreach of Kulthum must be at that time before the information revolution, because after the information revolution you can't really compare, because then you have the internet and you have
I mean, there is no one Indian figure that had the status that Kulthum has in the Arab world, or one Chinese figure in
No,
the
of
Chinese,
course not, no.
or one English, or one
No,
French, or
no,
one
no,
German,
no,
or
no.
so. If we take one language, one singer, this status, the domination.
She
maybe
was unique,
it was only
Muhammad,
Kulthum.
at that time.
Yeah.
But actually, we have 1 minute, so I want to ask you that about this place, the museum of Kulthum, and the idea of building a place that contains all of her belongings. Of course, we would have wanted her house to be maintained until this moment, but it's not, unfortunately. So, what do you think about this
I
idea?
think this is really a tribute to Kulthum. I hope they organize many visits to this place, especially school children, because they don't know Kulthum. If she passed away in 75, then it's a very long time ago. And I think we have to, publicize it more, because many people love Kulthum until today. I mean, after 40 years, more than 40 years, I don't know, many years ago she passed away. We still
44. Yeah.
we still like her, we still love her, we still listen to her, and we believe that she's our diva. She's the lady of the Arab world. So I think we must publicize this place, and I'm very glad that you did this recording here. I salute Nile TV for this choice, and thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Mrs. Hidayat Abdel, a renowned journalist. Thank you very much for joining us today.
The
Thank
pleasure
you.
was
Thank-
ours. Thank you.
Now we're moving to a quick break, so please stay tuned.